days was 12-2 when he was picked. And I've seen him win at least twice since then. So you're talking probably in the nature of 14-2, 14-3 when that hero actually isn't banned. And the hero's just so strong for so many reasons. He's got push, he's got counter push, he's got AoE magic damage, he's got counter initiation, and I literally mean counter initiation whenever you're talking about his ultimate. When if you have a lineup that is very dependent on physical damage and you're caught with a blinding light, it's really hard to commit to a fight then. Like, even in the middle of a fight, even if it's a fight that's already engaged, with an 80% miss percentage for that long, you just can't really reliably fight. Wow, we're just going to see... Wow, I got to say I like Alliance's lineup very, very much. And when I see how the Na'Vi's good as well, I mean, you want to talk about some single target initiation, yeah, they've got it in spades. Bad Rider Lasso, Rubik with his telekinesis, and of course Storm Spirit with his whole kit. But when I look at Alliance, this is just well-rounded in all phases of the game. And this puts a lot of pressure on Na'Vi. You've got Phantom Lancer. Most likely what Alliance is going to do is just ban out carries that they don't want to let Na'Vi get. And Sven is actually, and I've been talking to my inner circle in the, in my hidden mountain fortress here in the hills of West Virginia. My inner circle and I have been running the numbers, which means just playing Dota once in a while. And a hero that I think is going to end up being a pocket pick to deal with Phantom Lancer at some point is going to be Sven. And Sven, again, whenever you see him get super fat, super quick, and just get off to a good start, Phantom Lancer versus a Sven, all things being equal, equal farm, full inventory, Sven actually does pretty well in that situation. But then, of course, it all comes down to the teams around you. How can you mitigate one hero or the other, so on and so forth. But I just want to throw that out there because I'm really interested to see what Na'Vi is going to run to deal with the potential of a late-game Phantom Lancer. Now, what they do have going for them is an immense amount of reach in trying to gank that Phantom Lancer and trying to keep him feeling very uncomfortable in the way he's going to try to farm, possibly split push, and so forth. But what Alliance has going for them is they have a very defensive-oriented team already. Phantom Lancer is going to be able to split push and know that he can be teleported to a fight if Keeper of the Light wants to and can get in there with his ultimate Magnus. Magnus's Shockwave plus Illuminate. You cannot push into that. Unless you are just unless you're so overfarmed that it just doesn't matter what you're doing. You simply cannot push into an Illuminate and a Shockwave before 30 minutes. It just doesn't work. You eat too much damage unless you have a pipe and a mech up, and granted that can be possible, but it's just so difficult to deal with. The good news for Na'Vi is they have a team that can kind of get around that. Whenever you have excellent single target initiation, especially with the Bad Rider able to bring a hero back out, able to bring them out from under their comfort zone, that gives you the chance to kind of mitigate that a little bit. But again, it's all going to be about positioning, and that's such a cliche way to put it, but it simply is the truth. And, looking at the rest of the bans coming out of Na'Vi, we can see taking out the Nyx Assassin. I mean, that's just good banning. You don't want to let a Nyx through if you can. A little surprised we didn't see him picked up at all in the first draft phase. But the Darkseer and the Beastmaster being taken out. Beastmaster, of course, his aura going to help a Phantom Lancer out a lot more than they would ever want to allow it. And the Vacuum Wall combination of Darkseer. Just the all-around good utility of a Darkseer, not something Na'Vi wants to allow into the game. And Alliance, we can see, taking out, mostly mid-game heroes. Taking out the Gyro, the Shen, and the Juggernaut. Juggernaut, an excellent hero against Keeper and Magnus just because of his magic immunity. The fact that Omni Slash at level 2 does become very strong. And Havost has shown that he can play a very excellent Juggernaut. Getting a Shadow Blade up, going that kind of an approach to him. He can be a mid-game wrecking ball, especially when you have so much, again, single target initiation, the ability to play aggressive that you get from Rubik, Storm Spirit, and Bat Rider in particular. Now, the lanes are going to be interesting to me. When you see a Storm Spirit, obviously that seems like he's going to go mid, and the obvious choice would be Magnus. But you can do some crazy stuff if you want to try and get those heroes a little bit of a better start. And with the Jakiro pickup, just going right back to the well, Puppey loves that hero and has consistently drafts him a lot. Rubik, seeing him come out for the first 3, and that's something worth mentioning too. Talking to Puppey, having him on for the Asia qualifier broadcast here in the G1. Puppey considers Rubik to be the best support in the entire game. He will tell you that, and he will always go after that hero, especially for Kuro. Kuroki, one of the best Rubiks you're ever going to see on the planet. But with Na'Vi still lacking any sort of concentrated physical DPS, and Alliance with the chance to add to their lineup right now, what I'm curious is whether they're going to go with just a hardcore lane support or if they're going to go with something that is going to show a little bit more aggression, some kind of a support that wants the team fight a bit. Jakiro might have been a good choice in that same regard. But what kind of jumps out already? I mean, the heroes that Na'Vi has right now, okay, they are going to get a Clockwork, and that's what I was talking about. Was it going to be something like a very stable Shadow Demon, maybe a Lena, maybe a Leshrac who's still available? But no, they're going to go ahead and get some reach of their own. Clockwork can just put the brakes on any sort of initiation Na'Vi throws out if he's able to hit his hooks. But waiting to see how the rest of this lineup's going to turn out. Likely that's going to be their offlane, so they're still looking for some kind of a support. When I look at Na'Vi's lineup, they are not going to be the tankiest bunch. I mean, BKBs will come out in particular on Storm, maybe see one on Bat. Can occasionally get a Lincoln Sphere. We're going to see an Anti-Mage. That is a little chancy to me. It's a little chancy because Phantom Lancer, if he gets a good start, does tend to have the ability to fight a little bit better. And with Alliance already having Clockwork to try and get on and lock down an Anti-Mage, if they can pick one more hero that can just lock an Anti-Mage down, they're going to be in phenomenal shape. And honestly, just getting a hero that's going to be able to build an Orchid or something like that can be great in its own right, just to lock an Anti-Mage down. But a Phantom Lancer, one of the reasons so many players hate him and so many teams hate him and hate having to deal with him is that he can make up a lot of ground even if he has a bad laning phase. I don't think we're going to see that with an Anti-Mage on the side of Na'Vi. I can't imagine they're going to look to offensively tri-lane. So the PL should have a good start, so should the Anti-Mage, so turnabout's fair play there. But PL really only needs a handful of items, and he's ready to fight almost as if he's peaked. He gets better and better as he gets more and more items, of course, but even just doing something, usually you'll see a player choose between either Aqualay or Drums, depending on preference and need. Then you'll see something like a Diffusal rushed out. And, of course, Tranquil Boots tend to be the standard boots, at least on early Phantom Lancer. And then at that point, it's really up to them. If they feel like that they're safe enough to go ahead and build damage and utility instead of tankiness, instead of health, they'll get a Manta style instead of a Heart. But even just getting a Heart up, Heart and Diffusal are the only two items that a PL really needs to feel super effective. So Lion's going to be the pickup, and that effectively is what they needed to deal with that Anti-Mage. That's what I was talking about. Doubt he's going to be building a Scythe of Ice, but he doesn't need one. He's got a Hex all of his own already. So being able to Hex the Anti-Mage before he gets a BKB, follow it up with a stun, Clockwork can lock him down, so on and so forth. They have a lot of ways to deal with him. And Na'Vi, I feel like it's going to be under some pressure to execute early on. I mean, you can't draft a Storm Spirit and a Bat Rider and try to go late. It just doesn't tend to work out that well for you. I mean, even with an Anti-Mage. So I'm not meaning to imply they don't have late-game potential. They have it in oodles. But with those two heroes, you want them being active in the mid-game. You want them capitalizing on their skill sets because, you know, BKBs eventually come out, heroes tank up, and Phantom Lancer just being the late-game terror that he absolutely is not a liability that you want to leave unchecked. And looks like we're going to have a pretty calm early game. Yeah, Dindy's not going anywhere. He's setting up shop in mid. So let's run through our lineup, see who's handling who. Poppy, the captain, going to be playing on our Jakiro. Anti-Mage going to be farmed up by Havos. No surprise there. Dindy will be handling our Storm Spirit mid. And tell you one thing, if there's any hero, hold on. Havos, playing with his chin out a bit, is going to be able to stay safe. But anyway, Dindy on Storm Spirit. There's not a whole lot more fun heroes to cast Dindy on than Storm Spirit. So looking forward to this game on the basis of that alone. Kuro going to be back on the old Rubik, his signature hero, and Funnick going to be handling our Bat Rider once again on the other side. We've got We've got S4 playing on our Magnus. Keeper of the Light will be handled by Ake. Phantom Lancer going to be handled by Loda. EGM will be playing on our Lion, and the Clockwork going to be handled in the off lane by Admiral Bulldog. I'll tell you what, man, Bulldog spends so much time in the off lane. Especially on the, he's got such a core group of heroes. I just wonder, does Bulldog, at this point, if Bulldog picks a hero, does it automatically just run to the off lane? And how? Loda's actually going to be caught out. There's an ice path to catch him out, but with the doppelwalk there, they're unable to do much of anything to him. And are they actually going to offensively tri-lane this? If so, it's ballsy. I'll give him that. Most gonna eat and illuminate right in the face, as is Poppy and Kuro. This is ballsy. I mean, you gotta give him credit. Now, Loda taking a little bit of damage here. Offensively trialing the Anti-Mage. The problem with this is you are very all-in on doing very well early. This does work against a Keeper of the Light in particular because he usually does not want to spend a ton of time Oh, never mind. They're just going to go ahead. All right, now they've got 2 up here. So we're waiting to see. It looks like S4 is having a little bit of lag. But with Keeper of the Light and EGM still here, Puppy is actually making his way back across the river at the moment. And this top lane is going to be real fun and interesting to watch. I mean, here in mid, Dindy and S4. I mean, S4 is going to get his levels. He should be able to hang in there fairly well. And here in bottom, Funnick obviously going up against the Clock. Clock's got to be careful, though. But he should be fine. He should be able to get a little bit of gold as well as some decent experience, get to a quick 6. And we can see the other 2 moving up. Puppy has about faced and is down in the river now. For the moment, it's Loda and Havos going toe-to-toe. And EGM's going to be telekinesis right into an ice path. They've got some damage. Keeper of the Light's right there. Gonna try to scare him away. And wow, he's just going to go for it. Jumps on Ake, though, instead of EGM. So actually came out worse there. Gave away a lot more health than he was able to take away. And this looks to be a very volatile top lane. And Lion, as good as his skill set is, the stun on level 1 Earth Spike is not spectacular. 1 second, basically. So he does need a level or 2 to really start to feel effective. But with the heroes they have, I mean, as easy as it is to spam that, the Keeper of the Light's going to be the big liability. And wow, Lotus taking a decent amount of damage as Host has put a point into Mana Break. So he's going to have to be real careful here. And there is some long-range damage potential out of these heroes. And they'll need level 2, though. I mean, obviously, Ice Path's not bad, but I talked about it during the draft in Game 1. You know, the big nerf to Jakiro was the fact that Ice Path doesn't do nearly as much damage at level 1 as it used to. And Kuro, once he gets a point into Fade Bolt, give him a little bit of range in their damage. The way things are going right now, 4-3, hard to call who's going to be the winner. But, you know, and again, you got to give Na'Vi credit, if for no other reason, than being willing to offensively tri-lane and anti-mage. This just isn't something you see all that often. And, it, you know, the advantage of it is hard to kill him. You know, and that's, you know, obviously the way you lose an offensive tri-lane is to give up deaths, give up first blood, you know, so on and so forth. And Rubik, Rubik giving us his thoughts. But, the fact that, you know, the fact that you're not going to be that easy to kill off, even if you overextend, so long as you manage your mana correctly and so long as you are constantly doing what you can to keep that off of cooldown, it's going to make this a little hard for them to deal with. I mean, we can see EGMs here. Ake's actually rotated out. So at the moment, it's just free farm for Host. He's got 9 to the 6 of Loda, opening up a little bit of a chasm. But not a ton. Now, this is where things get interesting. This point right here. This is where either team can engage and feel okay about it. You know, when you're up in this general area, it's pretty tough for them to engage. You'll probably never see Loda come further than here, so long as it's 3-on-3. But right here, either team can take their shot, especially Ake, who's going to be able to hide behind these trees. And he is going to move over. He has hit level 2 now. He has Chakra Magic. Very important for this lane. Being able to support not his mana pool and the mana pool of Loda in particular, who can spam Spirit Lance. And that's going to be a good shot that catches everyone. And that's the annoying thing in the Keeper. But every time they do that, it does work, at least to a small extent, in favor of Na'Vi. Shoves the lane. And gives a chance for Havos to farm. Does hurt the support's XP, though. And you can actually, and, you know, talking to Loda, this is something that he talked to me about at length during our last broadcast together. Is whenever you're in a try-on-try, it's actually fairly acceptable, depending on what your goals happen to be, to just intentionally shove the enemy, and that's what we see Puppy ducking out here for, by the way. This is why he's just, you know, seeming to do nothing over in this piece of territory and just bouncing around, is when you shove them up under their tower like that, you force 3 to split experience, while your own supports are doing work in the jungle. We can see Ake came out there, but EGM, he's catching up a little bit. He's level 2 on the Keeper. Kuro is level 3, Havost is level 3. Puppy now in mid. They're going to engage on S4, and S4 forced to skewer away. Puppy's level 2. Level 5 on the Storm Spirit. Loda level 4. So he's, yeah, you can see the exchange. Loda's a little bit higher level, while his supports are a little bit lower, while Havost is lower with his supports being higher in comparison. But yeah, I mean, and this is a good way for Puppy to spend his time. Whenever he's shoved up under his tower like that, you don't just want to sit and leech the experience. Go do something productive, and trying to take a shot at S4, even though it didn't work, at the very least, you're not leeching experience. So it's productive even if the gank fails. 5 minutes in, still no first blood on the board. And Loda trying to catch up a bit. They're staying right on top of each other, so this is not a won or lost lane for either side right now. Haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to the other lanes so far, just because this one has the potential to get so volatile so quickly. Speaking of volatile, Alliance decides they want to take a shot. S4 is going to be caught out. He's trying to bait. He's doing a good job. It might cost him first blood. He's going to skewer away, and there's EGM. Gets the Hex off on Dindy, and the Illuminate will connect. But the big winner there is Mag, and S4 says the hell with it. He's going to come back in, bottling up with very little health. Needs to be careful, but I guess seeing the Storm has very little mana allowed him to play a bit more brave. Put on his big boy britches. Had a lot of movement, a lot of damage done on both sides, but so far not a single kill on the board. Both teams playing very, very solid. Taking a look at our CS, we can see the big winners, a lane I haven't even really paid any attention to, because I knew it would be quiet, was Bad Rider and Clockwork. Bad Rider at 34. He's actually dominating Clock a lot more than I thought he would. But, of course, that's by virtue of the fact that Bulldog has to be so careful not to get more than 2 or 3 stacks of sticky napalm on him. If he does, he's just going to end up dead, especially now that the Bad is level 6 and has a haste ring. That makes it even more risky. Good ward down right here out of Navi, and yep, AK says that is a good ward, AC. How about we get rid of it? Take away that vision, make it a little more chancy. And again, this Meridian line here. Anywhere, even here, is a little chancy for them to come up into because of the Keeper finally having level 3, which means... And level 3 is probably, you know, getting that 3rd level as quickly as you can on a Keeper is really where things start to feel better for you. Because you have level 2 chakra. You can support not just your mana pool, but the mana pool of your team, of one other teammate. And now we're going to have an engagement on the puppy. And Loda going to be telekinesed, eats a dual breath. He's going to challenge this out. Here's S4. Here comes the hook from Bulldog. Bulldog caught Puppy. We're going to see Kuro caught out as well. And Puppy looks to be cleaned up. They're going to get the first blood. S4 claims it. Another kill going the way of Alliance as well. Really good movement. Looked a little harem-scarum for a minute. But they managed to put it together, and S4 came charging out. Havo's going to come up and going to catch a Spirit Lance and be forced to blink away. But very effective movement there. And now this is the hard decision for Na'Vi. You just lost 2. The lane is going to be in favor of Alliance. Do you abandon it and change your lanes, or do you stick with it? If they abandon it, it's just a flat-out win for Alliance. They're just going to be ahead. If they stick with it, they have no margin for error. If that Anti-Mage dies, they are going to be in big, big trouble. Avos has up a set of Tranquil Boots. That was his first item choice. Very understandable, given it is an offensive tri-lane. Also a poor man's shield. So, depending on how he wants to build, I mean, obviously, Battle Fury tends to be the first big choice, but he's going to be late to it. I mean, even if he starts farming and does well from here on out, he's going to be late. Phantom Lancer is a little bit behind in farm, so that's the good news. He's level 6, Anti-Mage is level 5, though. And Loda, as a player, but more so Phantom Lancer as a hero, he's not going to care that he's much behind in farm if he's able to stay ahead in levels. He'll be able to farm effectively with his illusions. He'll be much harder to track down and deal with. And yeah, we can see, I mean, Havos is doing what he can over here. Trying to do, yeah, get some last hits wearing when he can. Illuminate, gonna catch him in the mouth, but he's already got 1 point into Spell Shield, so damage mitigated. Now we're gonna see S4 skewering Dindy back. Puppy's there. And let's see if they've got the damage. The Ice Path was there, as is the Dual Breath. TP reaction comes in, though. Now S4, 5 seconds away. Nope, never mind. TP spent, but not followed through on. In the meantime, Phonic looking to lock down the Bulldog. Didn't catch him with the Flame Break there. And that's going to prompt the reaction. So Phonic trying to get something accomplished. RP's available for him. Now Firefly's going to be on cooldown. He's much faster. That's problematic. And Phonic in some trouble, spinning the Flame Break. Don't think it's going to matter. Whoa, Magnus. That's not where you want to be, buddy. Shockwave, though. Able to clean him up through the woods. 3-0. And it's beginning to look as if my prediction was correct. But that's actually speaking way too quickly. This is just how Alliance plays, though. And this is why I said what I said. It was either going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight or a 2-0 stomp. And not saying that this is over by any stretch. It's not. As we see Dindy finally getting Na'Vi on the board, for example.
Come out of that tin can anytime.
But Alliance does tend to do really well with the lead. They tend to really capitalize on any momentum they pick up, be it game to game, be it early game momentum, what have you. And we can see Avos is actually being forced out of lane here. And he's actually going to go pure mid game. He's going to skip the Battle Fury. He's got his Band of Elven Skin and his Blade of Alacrity up, so he's going to be looking to get a Yasha. Which basically means they are going to be hurting if they don't win a fight soon. Right now, we haven't seen full 5-on-5, haven't seen a concerted gank on any group of heroes. We've seen a couple picked off here and there, but mostly, other than Alliance, of course, reacting and picking off too in that initial engagement at top, we just haven't seen either team really break down this laning phase yet. But, regardless, with the Anti-Mage foregoing the safety belt that is the Battle Fury, means they need to get some work done. They need to account for Loda soon. Loda has his drums up already. And we can see in terms of last hits, they're actually in pretty good shape. They have three of the top. They have the top three on the board, and that's excellent. 65 for the Storm Spirit's a very important number. Dindy did go ahead and pick up a couple of Null Talismans, just increasing his mana pool is helpful. And we're going to see S4 caught out again. Havost is there this time. Here comes the hook and counter initiation on the Bulldog, though. And S4 is going to spend the RP. Got a couple. Bulldog still lassoed down. There's an Ice Path coming from the other side of the river. And they do manage to kill both. No other reaction from Alliance. And this is what they need to be doing. Getting work done. Trying to bring down towers. It's going to be tough to do so when an Illuminate hits everybody in the world for 1 billion damage. Actually, they only caught one. That's surprising. But really like the movement there from Na'Vi. Havost is going to go ahead and bail out of there. And this is a very important switch. And, you know, it's can't say it's a good decision, it's a bad decision. It's a decision. Feel like it's the right thing to do, though. And we can see Loda now beginning to go to work. Loda's actually further ahead in CS now than Havost is. My big concern is if Havost is going to regret going Yasha first. Because, you know, the threat, the worry now is, okay, you did okay in your offensive tri-lane. You didn't really win it, but you didn't lose it horrendously. I mean, you gave up a couple of kills, and that's no good. But it's not as if you got run over. And you've managed to get some kills elsewhere on the map, which is very important. And you're probably going to take a tier 1. But if Alliance decides to just stabilize, which they very easily can with this lineup, it's very, very hard to push into a Keeper of the Light, a Magnus, and a Clockwork. There's just so much initiation, counter-initiation, and spell spam that can keep the waves off the tower. And if Alliance just decides to turtle and farm the Phantom Lancer, with Anti-Mage foregoing the Battle Fury, he could end up not being on pace. But we'll have to wait and see. And we can already see, yeah, Alliance is beginning to run as 4. And we're getting a bit of 4 protect 1 flavor out of everyone. Phoenix taken to the jungle in the meantime. Good news is he will have his Blink Dagger up real soon. He's like 200 gold away from it now. Havost does have his Yasha complete. And Alliance now going to go ahead and, yeah, this is typical. They're going to run as 4. They're going to look to find a target. They're going to look to gank and free up the jungle, free up the map for Loda. Loda with 1,200 gold in the bank. Probably see him pick up a Blade of Alacrity soon. Good ward. Love that ward spot. You get so much out of that at this stage of the game. So much. And this could be problematic if they decide to jump Puppey. They're going to have to kill him quick. Up. Dust is popped. There's the hook. He's got help around, though, and Puppey will be cleaned up for free. Wow, Dindy just walked into a Hex! RP caught both! Oh, my God, Dindy, what are you doing? He just walked right into a dark spot on the map. Funnick's going to try and turn it around with a lasso. But, oh, nice shot, S4. The counter coming now out of Na'Vi. They want some return kills. They lost 2 for 1. S4 is going to end up dropping, so they end up going 2 for 2. Macro Pyre did go down. Dindy just walked right up to a lion, got hexed, and died. I'm not sure of the lag or what the problem was. But that was just bizarre. Rubik ended up cleaned up out of it too. 5-6 Alliance trades with Na'Vi. But very important point. Guess who wasn't there? This guy. Guess who has more gold and experience? This guy. Guess who had to come to that? This guy did. Bad Rider does go ahead and deny another tower, so A little bit of a win there at the very least. Has enough to buy his blink, and yeah, he's going to dip over and grab her now. So he's in good shape that way. Dindy and Kuro now moving through mid, trying to find a target. Ake has a haste. He's got teammates all around him. But yeah, so far, I mean, Loda's in great shape. And we'll see what he even wants to build here. He's got 2,000 gold. Diffusal is the obvious choice, but maybe he'll surprise us. Anti-Mage sitting on a Yasha now, and just heard him jump on something. Tried to find Bulldog. And Bulldog will be caught out. Shockwave does some damage. Down go the cogs. And he's got help around. So Dindy unable to do much of anything. And now, already hear the Illuminate. And see, this is exactly what I was talking about. And again, I'm not some genius. This is just drafting mechanics and obvious. Gank there, tough to initiate behind a tower like that. Onto a Clockwork, a Mag, and a Keeper. And just as tough to push into a tower like that. We're at 16 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the net worth. We can see Phantom Lancer's up there. Havost is not far off pace. But again, opting to forego the Battle Fury. He's got a Yasha. Take our look at the gold graph. We can see it's still a very tight match in terms of pure metrics. 750 gold, give or take. Less than 500 experience separating these two squads. And we'll see what Dindy wants to pick up. Saw Storm Spirit played a bit earlier today, and hang on, there's going to be Bat Rider finding a target. That's a Clockwork, and Ice Path's going to follow it up. Should be cleaned up, and he will be. And now the question is, can they get anything out of it? Havost is there and ready to fight. Loda might have to come fight, or they're going to have to sack this tower, one or the other. Don't know they can do a whole lot by themselves other than spam Illuminate. Loda's just going to split push. Don't blame him at all. And Na'Vi should get this for free, basically. Nice infusion of gold heading their way. And see what a Rubik get. And, wow, he's going to go ahead and telekinesis GM. Tried to pull him forward. Ice Path just a little slow. Little slow. Almost got him. In the meantime, Anti-Mage does take the last hit on the tower, so Havost getting a nice infusion of gold there. Loda, in the meantime, is falling back to jungle. He's actually going to go Manta first. Oh, wow. Maybe not. Maybe he'll go Yasha Diffusal. I've seen that done before, too. I'm honestly surprised. I'm not sure why he would, because he's going to have to start to fight at some point. I mean, you've got an Anti-Mage that's going with a mid-game build, so he's going to be able to fight a lot earlier than he normally would. That's the trade-off, is that you're going to be able to free farm faster than an Anti-Mage because you are PL. And because the Anti-Mage didn't get the Battle Fury. But Anti-Mage is going to be able to fight, but getting RP'd, hexed, and the whole shebang. Gonna send him back to the well in a body bag, and that's a very important kill and return for Alliance. Just well executed. And Havost losing a nice chunk of gold there. And honestly, this is all Alliance has to do. They don't have to press at all. Play defensive, keep your towers up as long as you can. Watch the Anti-Mage, keep tabs on his item. If he decides to build a Battle Fury, which he still can, I mean, just because he didn't build it immediately doesn't mean he never will. But if he decides to build a Battle Fury, react accordingly. Get your Phantom Lancer his core. I really want to see what he's going to get. And there's his Diffusal. I thought he bought a Yasha. Am I out of my mind? Did I just look at the wrong hero? But anyway. Diffusal is done. And we can see Na'Vi beginning to threaten this bottom tower a wee bit. Was I looking at Havost inventory or something and thinking I was looking at Phantom Lancers? Anyway, it is a Diffusal he has complete now. So, no surprise there. Comes out at a decent time, too. Well, seems like Jakiro happened to like it. But we're 20 minutes in. The gold beginning to take a bit of a turn in Na'Vi's favor now. The experience, though, still going the way of Alliance. And at some point, we're going to have a clash. Again, Na'Vi has an excellent amount of reach. Great single target initiation. And Alliance, on the other hand, tends to have better AoE initiation. And AoE counter initiation. Blink Dagger done on Mag. Okay. Still pretty broke. Earn on the Lion. And the Manta not far away at all for the Anti-Mage now. Dindy looks to be getting a Scythe of Ice as he's now picked up his own Ultimate Orb. And, of course, Phonic picking up a Blink Dagger of his own. And at this point, again, Alliance really, I mean, I'm sure they'll take a target of opportunity, but they have no reason to press at all. Just free the map up. Let Loda farm. And Dindy cleaning out some illusions, but not a whole lot more can be reported on in that front. Loda with another 1,700 gold. He is beginning to open up that chasm that I was talking about. He is beginning to open up a gap on Anti-Mage, and that's going to continue to be the trend since Anti-Mage didn't build a Battle Fury. So Na'Vi has to feel a little pressed now. They need to make something happen somewhere. And in the meantime, we see Alliance now beginning to move as a group. It looks like, yeah, Loda's even going to be a part of this. And again, the strength of a Phantom Lancer just having nothing but a Diffusal can be often be enough. Diffusal drums is enough to feel like you can fight. You have a little bit of survivability because of the drums. Good stat gain. You have damage because of the Diffusal, and they are likely to just trade tier 1 for tier 1 here. And yep, that will be what happens. Loda takes the last hit. He's actually upgraded his Diffusal as well. And now's when Empower becomes a major factor. We can already see. Base damage increase even right now is at 30. And that's with only 2 points put into it. It looks like Na'Vi's content to continue to trade. They are going to go ahead and pull back. Let's see how they want to play this out. Roche a potential? Nope. They're just going to go ahead and look to get something done elsewhere. And now they're going to see that their tower is under assault. They don't have a glyph to use, so if they want to get there, they better get there quick, fast, and in a hurry. Phonic's going to try to spot something. It's seen by the illusions, so they're all just going to go ahead and take the long road around to get behind the tower and be in optimal engagement position. The Boast has his Manta done. And it looks like Na'Vi is going to go ahead and withdraw. So both teams continuing to play very defensive. Again, Na'Vi has to be feeling like they're under the gun. Has to be. Dindy, the good news though, is that he's not far away from having a Scythe of Ice. Loda is beginning, again, to open up that gap in the gold and net worth. But, in fairness, Avos is holding on to things fairly well.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Very, very passive period. We're 13 kills on the board, 22 minutes in. And neither team really able to open anything up. And Dindy, though, might be able to catch a target here. Thought about it, dipped his face down. He is under cover of an Invis. But back to the Magnus and Empower. Phantom Lancer, an Empowered Phantom Lancer is terrifying. He just does so much more damage than he should early on. And the cleave damage means that it's hitting, especially if an RP's hit. You're not only hurting the main target, you're going to be hurting the supports a ton. He is beginning to tank up now. He's picked up a Vitality booster. They're going to trade tier 1 for tier 2.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Loda will take the last hit there.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
And Na'Vi now going to move southward. Look to find a fight. Vost doesn't have a ton of gold, but he just bought an item. What did he get? Got himself a Perseverance, so he is going to probably be looking to get himself that Battle Fury now. And that's going to be an important item for Alliance to notice. You know, they see that, they see the Perseverance, go, okay, we don't want to deal with him farming late. We want to get our Phantom Lancer in a sweet spot now and probably look to make to get something out of our lineup. Loda's not far away from his Reaver, and by consequence, not far away from his Heart of Tarrasque either. Still a very quiet game of farm right now. Mystic Staff's almost available for Dindy's. Less than 100 gold away from it now. And bouncing around. Now, I'll tell you what's surprising is we don't have a mech up on either side. Not even in progress for either side right now. And Blink Dagger is going to be the choice for EGM. Now, getting the Blink Dagger up online, not only excellent for them, but essential. If they need to be able to lock down one of the 3 primary targets, if they can lock down and get the jump on a Bat, an Anti-Mage, or a Storm Spirit, they're going to be in great shape. Actually, Bulldog just finished his mech. My bad. Bulldog with the only mech on the board. That's going to be nice for Alliance in both defending towers and looking to push out on their own. And yeah, Havos is definitely getting a Battle Fury. He's picked up his broadsword. But so far, I'm just really stunned at how passively both teams are playing. Both feeling really confident, I guess, in their ability to cope with each other's late game carry. 4 staff done on Funnick. Now, I honestly would be expecting more out of Na'Vi, more aggression. I would have honestly expected them to be ganking a bit more. And we're going to see Loda teleported down to the Ancients by Keeper of the Light. Should have his heart really soon. I mean, momentarily. And we will see him go ahead and back out. But Roche is going to become a going concern at some point. Haven't seen a whole lot of movement in that direction. This is just one of those matches where you get the feeling that the first team to pull the trigger is going to be the team that wins. You know what I mean? Like, depending on what you want to do. If Clockwork hits his hook in the right spot, then it's going to be a free win for Alliance. If Storm Spirit's able to get the jump on a Magnus in particular. I mean, Mag is such a central hero here for both sides. He has to be considered the #1 target in any engagement. And he has to be the #1 priority. His RP is going to be the biggest priority for Alliance to set up. Everything else that happens after the RP, kind of tough to screw up, to be honest. I mean, if you hit a good RP, you're gonna Clockwork's gonna have no problem getting his cogs down. Lion's gonna contribute what he does. Illuminates are much easier to land because now the fight is all clumped up and you're away from it, so on and so forth. But if you're Na'Vi and you're able to bring down the Mag and get rid of that big threat, if you're Dindy and you're able to jump right on him, hex him, and kill him, there's almost no way that Alliance can fight without him around, without the threat of a reverse polarity. Taking a look back at our Anti-Mage, Havost has completed his Battle Fury. And will be doing what Anti-Mage does now. Looking to farm like a mouse. 27 minutes for Boots, Manta, Battle Fury. Not bad. Not great. Not bad. Phantom Lancer, in the meantime, has finished his hard. And Battle Fury is a natural choice against a Phantom Lancer. I mean, just because Storm Spirit actually did manage to kill off the Mag. So that's honestly kind of what I expected to see, a bit more out of Na'Vi. But with the cleave damage, that would seem like the obvious choice against a Phantom Lancer. But I just worry that they've waited too late. Loda is big now. Loda is tanky now. He's got 2,200 health. His illusions are super tanky. He's got a level 2 Diffusal Blade. And I mean, just look how quickly these things proc now. And how much damage they do. Loda gonna be teleported away and brought into AK. Would imagine one side or the other is probably gonna look to start getting something done. If I'm to be totally honest with you, this is one of the more boring games of Dota I've ever broadcasted. Because it's one thing if, like, you see a lot of attempted ganks and you see, you know, a lot of good movement. Both teams are just playing, I mean, and it is what it is. It's good play. They're playing super safe and solid. I mean, I'm the kind of guy who can appreciate a 7-3 football score, you know? Like, I can appreciate some defensive play. But outside of a couple of ganks and some action early, both teams really haven't done much. There hasn't been a whole lot of... here we go. Thanks, Alliance. See, sometimes you just gotta talk. Just open my big fat mouth. It had been 15 minutes since the last time we saw something quite like this. And they're gonna have some targets nearby. Puppy might have been the unfortunate victim, but they decided to go ahead and cut through their own secret shop instead of going directly to the south. Puppy's working on a mech of his own. He's still quite a ways away. Needs about 900 gold, 850, give or take, to complete the item. And they're trying to bait someone out into this farm, and this is such smart play. They know someone's going to want to come and get this CS at some point. Puppy's up under his own tower. Oh, Funnick. And here we go. They're going to go ahead and try to engage on Puppy. He gets skewered. And good Hex. Ice Path dodge, but now there's a last of the grabs S4. Puppy's still alive. Here comes Storm Spirit looking to clean this up. Blinding Light is there. S4 will be killed nonetheless. Now Loda engaging in. There's the hook on the Havost. But good stolen spell usage by Rubik. He's going to be able to blink away. In the meantime, Dindy's just about out of mana. Buy back out of Mag. And they're still chasing him down. Dindy has very little mana. S4 back up and in. Oh, thought about it, thought better of it. Wound up and canceled it. We just saw right there just how strong Keeper of the Light is, by the way. S4 got back so quick because he died, bought back, and Ake TP'd him in. All in all, though, that's a win for Na'Vi.
Dire's middle tower.
And now the question, yep, they're going to go ahead and deward the Roche pit. And Loda's going to fall back and just go back to farming. Loda and Animage right on top of each other in net worth. Loda does have an edge, but not by much. Take a look at the gold. You know, this is about where it was 15 minutes ago. At 15 minutes into a game, 2,000, 3,000 gold, it's mentionable. I mean, it's not insurmountable, but it is worth mentioning. Experience is the same. At this level, though, 30 minutes in, this is nothing. It may as well be tied. 8-8, tied on the scoreboard. Slight advantage in gold and experience going the way of Na'Vi, but again, you just get that feeling. This is one of those games that has been quiet for so long that one team is just going to land everything in one of these fights, and you're going to hear a GG afterwards. You're just going to see one team evaporate, and racks will be threatened. But the good news for both sides is they do have a lot of outer tier towers remaining. There's still 5 standing on the board in total. 3 for Na'Vi, 2 for Alliance, and now Na'Vi looking to invade this jungle. Most of Alliance is actually cut off from Loda right now. He's got 4,000 gold in the bank. Taking a look at Avost, he's got 3,400 in the bank. And we'll see what his next choice is going to be. If he wants a BKB, he'll be close to it soon. Don't know that he will, but it would certainly help him deal with Lion in particular. BKB looks to be the choice of S4 as he's added the Ogre Club to his inventory. Loda, nice and fat. We'll see what he wants to buy. Keeper's beginning to tank up. He's picked up a vitality booster of his own. And Lion, again, having that Blink Dagger. That's most of his investment for a while. Bulldog's got 1,800 gold on him, though. So we'll see if he wants to pick up something like a Blade Mail. Would not be a bad choice against the lineup that Na'Vi's running. Puppy's still in search of that, and I heard... There, oh, it's Dindy. I knew it was Dindy, I just wasn't sure who or what he was engaging on. Seems to have been some poor creeps down here. But Poppy's still in search of that mechanism. He's about 700 gold off of it. Animage, 4K in the bank. Dindy with his Scythe of Ice, now on his way to a BKB as well. And the play of Dindy is going to matter a ton, especially with that Scythe of Ice. He's going to have to be a big factor. He's going to have to isolate targets. And we saw, if S4 isn't dropped by Dindy early in that engagement in the Radiant side, and isn't forced to buy back and isn't forced to re-engage from the back of the battle instead of in the center of it, that fight potentially could have looked very different. But as is, good play by him, prevented an RP from being any kind of a factor. And they're going to need that out of it. That's going to be something they're going to have to focus on and make a priority. We can see the battle over the Roche pit and the warding becoming very intense. Little split push action from Loda. And yeah, he's still here. Still no reaction. Throws out the Spirit Lance. We just saw it ping down immediately. Tower is in pretty rough shape. Let's see if anybody... Yep, there's the TP coming in. It's going to eat a bit more damage, though. And they might actually get this. Flame breaks there. Yep. They should be able to deny it, but still, loss of another tower.
Radiant's top tower has been denied.
33 minutes, 40 seconds in, that goal graph still hovering between 3 and 2,000. The experience, though, is slightly still favoring Na'Vi and continuing to climb, so they are finding their advantages where they can. Taking a look at our GPM, we can see the Phantom Lancer maintains the lead on the Animage. No real surprise there, given he's been ahead in net worth for a while, but still he hasn't opened up a gap that's really that big. He's got basically, he's about half an item ahead, more or less. And Na'Vi wants to change that. They're going to find him. They spot him out, or at least they think they do. Well, they spot out something that looks like a Phantom Lancer, but that doesn't tell you a whole lot now, does it? Now, they are all grouped up here under smoke. And Alliance sniffs it out, able to get themselves to safety. Telling you, what's going to happen is one team's just going to land everything at once. And you're going to see a totally lopsided fight one way or the other. It's just going to happen. And it could very easily be either side. We can see Na'Vi now wanting to take this tower. Havost is up front. Will blink away from the Illuminate. And Na'Vi forced to pull back once again. And they're going to retreat all the way across the river even. Okay, so Loda is now on his way to a butterfly. Now, this has got to be a concern. I mean, this has to be spotted eventually by Na'Vi, especially given Havost went BKB. I don't hate BKB on Havost, but really, at this stage of the game, 35 minutes is Magic immunity that valuable? I mean, it's great. You know, it's obviously it's awesome for what it is. But now you've got a Phantom Lancer who's going to be dodging half of your attacks whenever you go one-on-one to begin. You know, it's hard enough to deal with him to begin with. But now your main source of physical DPS is going to be just about taken out of the equation entirely. And that just leads, yeah, he just bought a butterfly. This is problematic to me. This is really problematic. 2,600 gold for Havost. But it's becoming more and more about the Phantom Lancer. But again, the team around them matters a lot more. Dindy being able to pick off a Magnus before a fight really gets started is more than enough to turn a fight completely in their favor. And here we go. Na'Vi moving back towards this tier 2 middle. Might have a little bit of action finally. Looks like they're just going to sack this. They're not even going to try to contest it. And Loda's just continuing to farm. What is Tony doing? That's our Chinese caster. He's just saying, oh, okay, Tony. Exactly. Exactly, Tusky. Exactly. Our Chinese broadcaster, everyone. No bias. Hashtag based caster. Tusky. Trying to remind him that yes, we are live indeed. But anyway. Alliance now giving some attention to the Roche pit. It's been 8-8 for about forever. Actually, yeah, it's less than 10 kills on each team. 16 kills total in a 36-minute game. This is the quietest game I've broadcasted since the International. Yeah, I don't think I've broadcasted a game. We had a real quiet one back in the Asia qualifiers. I can't remember who played in it. I want to say it was something like Orange and Zenith, maybe. Oh, no, I take it back. It was DK Zenith, I think is who it was. But just a lot of movement, a lot of calculated risks, a lot of vision, been a lot of ward spot. But for the most part, and this is again in respect to what I've been talking about all game, the fact that both teams have heroes and have abilities available to them that can be... Come on, Tony, get it together. Get it together, good. But, uh-oh. Oh, wait. Uh-oh. What's going on? What is going on? But, now I want to know what's going on before... Oh, we need to restart a computer, apparently. And... All right, guys. Sorry for the brief delay. Hope you're nonetheless enjoying your time here. We'll go ahead and bounce it back out front. So Tony's going to go ahead and restart. That'll give me time to thank you guys for being here once again, for being a part of the broadcast here on One More Game TV2. And apparently, the bad manner from EGM. Bad manner. Believe I played with EGM in my last pub. I'm pausing like that jerk. But, anyway. Are we seriously going? Okay. Game on. Moving on. I can still get this thought out. Thanks for being a part of the broadcast, guys. If this is your first time on One More Game TV2, would love to have you back in the future. And if you're one of those who's been with us since this morning, thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you check out G1.2p.com when you have the chance. All of your coverage, your brackets, articles, interviews, write-ups, you name it, they got it at G1.2p.com. We are winding down to our last few days of the Western Qualifier. Hard to believe I've been doing G1 for like a month now. Doesn't seem that long at all. But it's been a lot of fun. Gotten to reach a whole lot of new viewers, too. A whole lot of new people. Since I'm broadcasting at a totally different hour than I usually did for the D2L. Whole new group of people. And if you're one of those new people, I want to thank you for making my experience so enjoyable. And hope that we'll have you in for other broadcasts in the future. Bulldog did grab himself a blade mail. I don't think there's any surprise in that. And both teams continuing to play Farm Dota. This is now Farm Simulator 2013. Valve has rebranded the franchise. Rock it on. The net worth on Animage and Phantom Lancer both quite high. very close to each other, so Havost is making up some ground. He's going to have a butterfly soon, too. Why didn't we just have a one-on-one mid, really, at this point? 16 kills on the board, 39 minutes into this game. Mag has completed his BKB. Loda has $4,000 in the bank. At some point, he's going to want to just sell these drums. I mean, it's just an inventory slot now. And really, it's hard to even tell what he... I mean, does he tank up? He's got the defusal, so his damage is going to be there. I mean, both heroes have mana burn. And finally, something that might give us some action. Let's see if Na'Vi suspects this is up. They've got a ward down. I'll tell you what, that rocket from Bulldog might give things away. I mean, Na'Vi might be smart enough to just know what's going on. And, yep, he's going to back. Havost checks things out. That's an illusion. So, that rocket may have seriously given things away, because he shot it from right here. You see a rocket flying from the direction of the Roche pit, you're gonna suspect something's up. They now have a sentry down. Boomers. But, at any rate, they put an end to that attempt. And Mass Agriculture Simulator 2013 continues. We roll past the 40-minute mark. Still Tier 2 standing on both sides, actually. Only one standing for Alliance, two standing for Na'Vi. They're going to move right into the Roche pit and go for this. And Alliance might be caught sleeping here. Yep, Havost is going to get this. This is the biggest event we've had in quite some time. And Alliance may be playing a bit too passive for their own good. I mean... You don't want to be in range of the reach of a Storm Spirit or a Bad Rider, but at the same time, you do have the ability to fight. I mean, you are not a team that's hurting. Or way behind by any stretch. The net worth continues to have Loda on top. But, for the first time in a while, Anti-Mage is about to cut his lead down to 1,000 total net worth. I just want to see their last hits. 442 for Loda, 387 for Anti-Mage right now. Kind of nutsy. Kinda nutsy. GPM, look at that. Almost identical. Damn near identical. Loda a little bit ahead. An extra 4 gold per minute. Absolutely insane. They are staying right on top of each other. Shakiro finally did complete his mechanism. S4 again with his BKB all done. I mean, and, you know, I hate to just keep going through the items, but truthfully, there's not a lot to talk about unless one team decides to take a chance. And we can see Na'Vi now in a good position to try and force the issue at this tier 2. But if Alliance doesn't have any interest in trying to stop it, then there's not a whole lot to talk about. I can talk about strategy so far as how they're going to try to crack the base. But even that is... it's pretty obvious. They're just going to look to use the reach of their heroes against the mass AoE of Alliance, and whoever is able to execute better is going to win. They are going to be split pushing now with Havost. Does get some damage done, and Loda just wants to farm. He doesn't want to fight, he wants to just farm. He is a herbivore. And they're going to lose a tier 3 here. And this is just kind of silly, actually. Havost is going to take some damage. I mean, it's not like they're not going to react to Loda down here. He's going to have someone show up, surely. Yeah. So he just falls back. He's got 7,000 gold in the bank. Let's buy a rapier and be done with it, Loda. Give us something exciting. Anti-Mage is equally fat and chubby. I mean, at this point, I may seriously have to start talking about the weakness of having an Aegis, because that's one extra inventory slot he doesn't have available to occupy with an item. And if they can lock him down, even if they have to kill him twice, just not having that extra item can make a difference. Alliance is smoked up. Looking to catch someone napping here in mid. BKB, Scythe of Ice complete on the Storm Spirit. And, yeah, I mean, the Phantom Lancer illusions are beginning to get kind of insane, as you can see. That tier 3 did take a lot of damage there. And Loda. Nom nom. Looks like Alliance is going to go ahead and invade the Radiant side jungle now. Lion has picked up a Ghost Scepter, so that's going to aid in his survivability a bit. Now, Bulldog having the Blade Mail, that's something I touched on and could probably stand to talk a lot more about. Against heroes with Cleave, which is what we're going to be seeing out of Animage, that's actually a super effective item. I mean, just being able to isolate yourself against an AM to begin with is enough. And Havost is up to the north. And Loda is going to spot him out, or be spotted. And he does use Doppelwalk. Havost now has people's eyes on him, and now they're going to hex him. Can they bring him down? Here comes the encounter initiation. Last, they're going to catch EGM. Big fight finally happening. We're going to have Magnus dropping the RP, and Na'Vi feeds the Aegis and feeds a bit more. Now Dindy forced to run. He's got the BKB up, but cannot contribute anything. The mana burn off of Phantom Lancer is too much. Havost able to get a return kill, though, as he pops back up. Saved his BKB until afterwards. Na'Vi gonna lose Rubik in the meantime. EGM looking to pursue him out. Big win for Alliance. And everything happening at once. The mana burn is just too much. It's just too much on the Phantom Lancer. No one had any mana in that fight. No one had any mana. And now they're gonna back. Not sure I get this, but hey, whatevs. I mean, I guess they're assuming they have buyback. Rubik does not. Bad Rider does not. Neither of those heroes have buyback, and they're just going to fall back and farm some more. Loda doesn't want to fight. Can we just call this a tie? Can we make it like Little League Baseball, where we're not going to keep scoring at the end, everyone gets a trophy? Can we alert G-1? Because that's apparently what Loda's up for. This says, you know what? No, it's cool. Got the Aegis. 2 heroes can't buy back. We're right in position to push with my 8,000 million freaking illusions that hit for 1 billion damage. And are tanky as hell because I have 3,000 hit points, 2,844 hit points. But no. 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 We are going to fall back and farm some more. And Puppy. I mean, look at this. They can't even kill 1 illusion. Look at this. Alliance. Moving across the river. Looking to start another fight. And here we go. We're going to have a lasso catching Loda. Can they drop him fast enough? He's going to be able to Manta style as soon as he's released. He is hexed. They still can't kill him. They just can't kill him fast enough. Clockwork's going to re-engage. He's going to be able to lock Dindy in. And Dindy doing what he can, doing good damage to Bulldog. But with the Blade Mail up, a lot of damage being done. Havost's going to be locked down and blown up. Manages to blink away. Let's see if they can catch him. BKB has expired. Blink, only thing that saved him there. They just can't do anything. Phantom Lancer is too huge. Loda, go ahead and change your tag, bro. Your name's now Monsanto. The net worth coming near 30,000 now. Now we're going to have Bulldog picked off, so there's a win. He's down for 54 seconds. Does he have buyback? He does, if he wants it. And EGM's actually going to need a Mana Void. And be cleaned up again now. Vos may have overstayed his welcome. He's got enough mana for a blink, but S4 has none. And that's not what you want to do, guys. You just want to fight. Why would you feed Havost even more? S4 now being counter-engaged upon. Dindy's there. Ake's there as well. Dindy is mana leaked, but it should be fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. Lotus got this. Don't worry. Animage now with a Basher. But, I mean, he's full. He's got Boots of Travel. He needs to just sell his drums and buy a rapier, basically. Buy another heart. Buy lifesteal. Something. Oh, Havost. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So, I mean, Na'Vi at this point, they just got to count on that. We just saw what happens when Havost tries to engage into a PL right now. Even with his cleave, even with a Basher, even with the butterfly, just does not matter. I mean, honestly, the right choice is probably just to get an MKB. Sell your drums, get an MKB. Be done with it.
Radiant's top tower has been denied.
And we did just have a tier 3 denied here. For Na'Vi, coming up on 50 minutes, only 23 kills on the board.
Boom, there it goes.
Much more of a farm Dota approach from both teams this time around. And again, when you look at what both teams are going to have to do, we just saw Na'Vi basically have things go as well as they possibly could have. They managed to lasso Loda with no help around. They had everything they could to try and blow him up, and they still couldn't kill him. Still could not kill him. So what they're going to have to do is hope to pick other heroes. And if you're Alliance, why not just run as 5 forever now? You know, if I mean, this is really good for Na'Vi, actually, that they can get on this side of the river. Because now we're going to see the split push of Host, force them to react. But, you know, and this is really the only chance Na'Vi has at this point, given how far behind, or, well, that's not even the right way to put it. It's not, I mean, you look at the gold, they're actually ahead. The experience is in their favor as well, but it just doesn't matter. Phantom Lancer is Phantom Lancer. Phantom Lancer is your whole team at this point of the game. So the best response they have is to stay on this side of the river. So if they lose a fight, at the very least, Alliance has to push down the river, or across the river. But if you're Alliance, you just have to find a way to cope with split push, which isn't that hard given you have a Keeper of the Light. It really isn't. If they can cope with split push and get on the enemy side of the river and just camp out, they're going to be just fine. Anti-Mage has picked up an Abyssal Blade. He's officially full. Doesn't even have a spot now for Aegis. PL did go with the MKB. He's officially full. Does not have a spot for Aegis. So at this point, what we really have to start to talk about is the value of the other heroes on the team. Now, PL's a bit different from any other hero in this situation just because of how damn hard he is to isolate. So, I mean, he's done. He is as complete a hero as he's ever going to be. Storm Spirit is going to be of immense importance. He has been all game. But at this point, they're going to have to get miles out of Dindy. Dindy needs to get on the real PL, needs to hex him, and then ping the hell out of him and go right here, right here. If you play Dota, everybody's done that. You play Dota against the PL, you spot the real one, you ping that like all hell. Like your life depends on it. And hope you kill him. Speaking of killing him, Loda doing good damage to Roche. Na'Vi's right outside the pit, though. And this is a good way to know. If there's ever a time to have a chance to know which is the real Phantom Lancer, now's it. Oh, this could be big. They managed to drop it. S4 gets the Aegis. And now they're going to go ahead and engage. He's going to skewer out and go up to the north. He's going to feed it immediately. Oh, S4, what are you doing, buddy? Now Dindy being re-engaged upon. He pops his BKB. Another fight. The fight continues. There's the RP. It goes off, but all of Alliance locked down. Funnick pops his Ghost Scepter. Going to try to get away. And the Spirit Lance should be enough to clean him up. S4 still up and running. They managed to bring him down as well. What an absolute cluster. What a true cluster that was. Not the best on either side. Probably the best spell right there was that Earth Spike from Kuro when he caught the whole team and they were all grouped up after the RP. You know, RP obviously grouped up those from Na'Vi. But they all grouped up afterwards, and Clock's actually going to get a Scepter now. I thought Clock was going to be the one to take that. I really did. Getting it on the mag's understandable. That S4 fed it immediately, so not a whole lot to be gained at this point. And at this, you know, all that the carries can do is farm for buyback, I guess, unless he wants to sell his Diffusal, which he's not going to do. And Havost's actually going to get himself a kill, managing to kill off the Magnus. That's a little surprising. And we're going to see the Phantom Lancer Illusions pushing down bottom, or excuse me, pushing down top, while Loda himself is at bottom. He will be able to get back home, obviously. Boots of Travel as well as Coddle. 15-12. Na'Vi maintains the lead in gold and experience. And Loda will go ahead and be teleported back by the Keeper of the Light. And Funnick having picked up that Shivas, we saw that used in the last fight. And, you know, just filling out the ancillary items for the supports is going to be a major factor now. And this is an opportunity for them. They need to get across the river and just start camping out on Na'Vi. And I think that's what they're going to do here. Things like positioning and where you are on the map when you take a fight, even if you lose it, are beginning to be very important. You lose the fight on your own side of the river, it's a GG at this point. We're coming up on an hour into this game with carries that are doing a sick amount of damage. And Loda's going to eat a bit of damage. Dindy engaged in, and Loda's actually going to be brought back. Can they lasso him? No. They didn't manage to catch him. No, he's going to be hexed out. Can they bring him down? No, Bulldogs there. Lasso goes off, and here comes Indy to try and lock him down as well. He's down to a quarter health. He has no help. Loda gonna be cleaned up. They lose Loda. He buys back immediately. And in the meantime, Havost has managed to get a set of racks. Alliance. I honestly don't know what they're doing here. Loda was up front, and there was just no help coming. Havost with 10,000 gold in the bank. He's got buybacks for ages. 2 sets of racks now down. 2 of them. And all of a sudden, a game that looked as if Alliance was just going to slowly, methodically creep and take on the power on the back of Phantom Lancer. Not a sure thing anymore. In fact, quite the opposite. Na'Vi making life hard.
Invisibility!
And Loda, again, I just baffled by that engagement in mid. Why would you not be all together right now? And Ake going to be jumped and engaged on. Mana Void doesn't do much. They need to get together and fight. We can see the illusions are pushing in here.
What I miss?
That is so obnoxious. Can't even kill them, they have no health. As it stands. Oh, they're going to find plenty of farm here. The net worth is now in favor of Animage, by the way. It's worth mentioning. He has crossed over and taken lead. He's got 40,000, 37,000 roughly for the PL. Gold per minute. We can see they're dead tied up, and Ake's going to be blown up immediately. Dindy able to engage and catch S4. This might be GG. This might be it. Alliance may have just thrown this game away. We see buybacks come out. And they're going to re-engage. There's going to be buybacks on both sides, I suspect. And Dindy and Funnick trying to stay alive. Good hook. Locks Dindy down. He has no mana. Ake going to be cleaned up by Havost again. Havost is just hitting so hard. RP thought about it. No, he uses it, but he didn't. He does get the Havost, actually. Now the RP was stolen by Kuro. They're going to turn it around. Loda, the last one standing. Can he stay up? No! Havost lands the final punch. And this is gonna be Megas. Kuro in the right place at the right time. Turning the RP around. And Havost makes it an ultra kill. The GGs come out in a 56-minute game that featured how many last hits? 780 to 666. More than 1,400 last hits between these two. In the end, Alliance falling asleep at the wheel just for a moment. And Na'Vi forcing a game 3. Bad manner glyph. Bad manner glyph. What a long game. That's, you know, this is the kind of game that's exhausting to cast. I can't even imagine how exhausting it is to play. Na'Vi hung on, man. Early on, we saw a decent amount of action. Then everything just kind of settled out, and we knew it was going to come down to a battle of the carries. And for a while there, it looked like there really wasn't going to be a way for Havost to reliably deal with that Animage. But the reality, something else entirely. 57 minutes, 29 seconds, the official game time. 24-15, the final kill score. Na'Vi turns the bagel into a breadstick and forces a game 3 here in this winner's bracket showdown in the G-1 Champions League. I'm AC, you're listening to One More Game TV 2. Hope you're enjoying the show. Hope you hit follow if this is your first time here. And hope each and every one of you will stay locked for game 3 of this best of 3 coming your way next.